The sands of Iraq, once home to the cradle of civilization, now bear the heavy footprints of war. In 2003, a coalition led by the United States launched a military invasion, forever altering the course of this ancient land. The initial invasion was swift, but the aftermath has been anything but. Years of conflict have left Iraq grappling with a complex and devastating legacy. We are left to survey the wreckage, a stark reminder of the enduring human cost of war. The physical scars are evident: shattered cities, ravaged infrastructure, and a landscape forever altered. Yet the deepest wounds are invisible, etched into the hearts and minds of the Iraqi people. The war's legacy is a tapestry woven from trauma, displacement, and a profound sense of loss. This is the story of the Iraq War's aftermath, a tale of human suffering and resilience that continues to unfold. It is a story that demands our attention, compelling us to confront the true cost of conflict and the urgent need for peace. The decision to invade Iraq was predicated on the assertion that Saddam Hussein's regime possessed weapons of mass destruction and harbored ties to terrorist organizations, posing an imminent threat to global security. These claims, trumpeted by the Bush administration, would later be exposed as baseless, the product of faulty intelligence and political maneuvering. The world was told that Iraq possessed chemical and biological weapons poised to unleash unimaginable destruction. We were shown grainy satellite images, presented as irrefutable proof of clandestine WMD programs. The spectre of mushroom clouds and terrorist attacks filled our television screens, fueling a climate of fear and urgency. However, the promised arsenals were never found. The intelligence, it turned out, was deeply flawed, a deadly cocktail of wishful thinking and deliberate manipulation. The purported links to terrorism proved equally tenuous, a convenient narrative used to justify a preordained war. The human cost of the Iraq War is staggering, a grim calculus of death, injury, and displacement. While the true number of casualties may never be known, estimates suggest that hundreds of thousands of Iraqi civilians lost their lives as a direct result of the conflict. Behind these statistics lie countless individual tragedies, each a story of shattered lives and unimaginable loss. Families were torn apart, their homes reduced to rubble. Children witnessed horrors no child should ever see, their innocence stolen by the relentless violence. The war's brutal arithmetic extended beyond immediate casualties, leaving an enduring legacy of psychological trauma, chronic illness, and disability. Even today, years after the official end of combat operations, violence continues to plague Iraq. Sectarian tensions, fueled by the war's chaos, have erupted into cycles of reprisal and revenge. The proliferation of weapons and the presence of armed groups have created a climate of fear and insecurity, making daily life a precarious struggle for survival. In the aftermath of the invasion, the United States pledged to rebuild Iraq, to transform it into a beacon of democracy and prosperity in the Middle East. These promises, however, proved as empty as the claims that led to war. The reconstruction effort was marred by corruption, incompetence, and a fundamental misunderstanding of Iraqi society. Billions of dollars intended for infrastructure projects and essential services vanished into a black hole of waste and fraud. Contracts were awarded to politically connected companies, often with little oversight or accountability. The Iraqi people, who had endured years of conflict and deprivation, saw little tangible benefit from the influx of foreign aid. Instead of fostering stability and prosperity, the mismanaged reconstruction effort exacerbated existing tensions and created new ones. The dismantling of the Iraqi army and the purging of Ba'athist officials intended to deconstruct Saddam Hussein's regime left a dangerous power vacuum. It is a vacuum that would be filled by sectarian militias, criminal gangs, and ultimately the terrifying force of ISIS. from the ashes of conflict, the rise of ISIS and regional instability. The rise of ISIS is linked to the chaos unleashed by the Iraq War. In the power vacuum, ISIS found fertile ground to grow. Exploiting sectarian grievances, ISIS rapidly gained control of territory. The group's reign of terror plunged the region into violence and displacement. ISIS became notorious for mass executions and destruction of cultural heritage. The group's ideology posed a global threat, inspiring attacks beyond Iraq and Syria. Echoes of war. The enduring impact on Iraqi society. The Iraq War's reverberations continue to shape Iraqi society today. The conflict has left an indelible mark, fracturing communities and eroding trust in institutions. The war's legacy is a heavy burden, a constant reminder of the fragility of peace. One of the most devastating impacts has been the displacement of millions. Many fled their homes, seeking refuge in neighboring countries or becoming internally displaced. A global perspective, the Iraq War's ripple effect. The Iraq War was not a contained conflict. Its shockwaves reverberated far beyond the borders of Iraq, destabilizing the entire Middle East and having profound geopolitical consequences. The war emboldened Iran, strengthened extremist groups, and fueled a refugee crisis that strained resources and stoked political tensions across the globe. The invasion of Iraq, a major oil producer, sent shockwaves through global energy markets, contributing to price volatility and economic uncertainty. The war also diverted resources and attention away from other pressing global challenges, such as climate change, poverty, and infectious diseases. Perhaps most significantly, the Iraq War eroded trust in American leadership and damaged the reputation of the United States on the world stage. The war was widely seen as a violation of international law and a failure of diplomacy, undermining the United States' moral authority and its ability to build international consensus. Section 8. The Weight of Accountability, Lessons Unlearned. In the aftermath of the Iraq War, there has been a notable lack of accountability for the decisions that led to the conflict. The Chilcot inquiry and numerous investigations have highlighted intelligence failures and policy blunders. However, no high-ranking officials have been held legally accountable. This lack of accountability raises troubling questions and undermines efforts to prevent future conflicts. Seeking a path forward, hope amidst the ruins. Despite the immense challenges facing Iraq, there are glimmers of hope amidst the ruins. The Iraqi people have shown extraordinary resilience in the face of unimaginable adversity. They are rebuilding their lives and their communities, determined to create a better future for themselves and their children. Civil society organizations are working tirelessly to address the country's myriad problems, from providing humanitarian assistance to promoting reconciliation and peace building. There is a growing recognition among Iraqis that sectarianism and violence are not the answer, and that a shared future can only be built through dialogue, compromise, and respect for diversity. The international community also has a responsibility to support Iraq in its recovery and reconstruction. This includes providing financial assistance, technical expertise, and humanitarian aid. It also means working to address the root causes of conflict and instability in the region, such as poverty, inequality, and political repression. A legacy of loss, a plea for peace. The Iraq War stands as a stark reminder of the devastating human, political, and economic costs of conflict. It is a cautionary tale about the dangers of military intervention based on false premises and the enduring legacy of violence and instability that such interventions can unleash. As we reflect on the 20th anniversary of the Iraq War, we must honor the memory of those who lost their lives, both Iraqis and internationals. We must also reaffirm our commitment to peace, diplomacy, and the peaceful resolution of conflicts. The lessons of Iraq must not be forgotten. They are a solemn reminder of the importance of critical thinking, responsible leadership, and the pursuit of peace as the only path to a more just and humane world.